Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Mr. H. In this video, I will be discussing the distance formula and the midpoint formula. But before we dive into our very first example, let's recall some information about the distance formula. Alright, so the distance formula is d equals to the square root of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. Now, what is the distance formula about? So the distance formula is used to actually tell how far apart from each other the 2 points are. So as you can see from here, you have x sub 1 and y sub 1 over here. So they are the coordinates of the first point. The other two coordinates, we have x sub 2 and y sub 2. So they are the coordinates of the second point. So that means here you will be dealing with 2 points in order for you to apply the distance formula. So to give you a better picture of how you will be using the distance formula, so let's, for example, you have here the first point. So you have point 1, and for example, here is the second point. So if you connect the 2 points by a straight line, so this is what you are going to calculate. Basically, since each point here has coordinates, definitely these points will be seen on the Cartesian plane. All right, so let's take a look at our example. Triangle PQR with vertices P at 1, comma 4, Q at negative 1, comma 1, and R at 3, comma 3. Calculate the perimeter of triangle PQR. All right, so we were given three different points here. So first of all, what we need to do is to plot the point first on the grid. So here, so let's start with point P. So 1, comma 4. So 1, comma 4 is here. So that's point P. And point Q at negative 1, comma 1. So that is point Q. So that's point R. All right, so that's triangle PQR. In order for us to calculate the perimeter of this triangle, we need to find the length of each side of the triangle. All right, so this is an application of the distance formula. All right, so let's start our calculation. Say we start with side PR. So we're using point P and point R. So 3 minus 1 squared plus 3 minus 4 squared. And we simplify. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So that's 2 squared. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Then we continue simplifying. So we have 2 squared is 4. And negative 1 squared is 1. So the length of side PR is square root of 5. You can label the figure if you want. So this is square root of 5. Leaving your answer into radical form or surd form, that's going to be okay. And I think that's more accurate because when you change it to decimal, that's the time you round up or you round down. Definitely, it's becoming far from the real answer. So I would suggest to leave the answer in surd form or radical form. But then again, it depends on what the instruction. If you are told to write the answer in decimal, then we write it in decimal. Then we move on to the next side. So let's calculate the length or the distance between point R and point Q. So we have RQ, side RQ or QR. So let me highlight R and Q. All right, so for side RQ, so 3 minus negative 1 squared plus 3 minus 1 squared. Then we carry on simplifying that. So 3 minus minus 1 is 3 plus 1. So it's going to be 4 squared plus 3 minus 1 is 2. So it's going to be 2 squared. 4 squared is 16. 2 squared is 4. So RQ is square root of 20. So more simplified. So 2 square root of 5. All right, so that's the distance between point R and point Q. On to our last side length that we need to calculate. So that's PQ or QP. All right, so QP or PQ. So we get negative 1, negative 1 minus 1 squared plus 1 minus 4. Then we have QP. So negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. So 1 minus 4 is negative 3 squared. So QP, negative 2 to the power of 2 is positive 4. Negative 3 to the power of 2 is positive 9. Therefore, QP is square root of 13. All right, so we're not done yet. So at this point, we were able to find the side lengths that we need to calculate the perimeter. So we're now ready to calculate it. PR plus RQ plus QP. So PR is square root of 5 plus RQ is 2 square root of 5 plus QP is square root of 13. So basically here, so these two can be combined. So we're going to get 3 square root of 5 here plus square root of 13. All right, so this answer is enough if the instruction tells you to leave your answer in radical form or surd form. This is already it. But if the instruction tells you to write your answer into standard one, which is the decimal one, then you need to enter this value on your calculator. And if you do that, it's going to give you, approximately equal to 10.31 units. Either of the two is right. So the perimeter of triangle PQR is approximately equal to 10.31 units, or equal to 3 square root of 5 plus square root of 13. All right, so that's for the first example about distance formula. Now, let's jump straight into the midpoint formula. Let's recall some information about the midpoint formula. So as you can see from here, the diagram below shows us 2 points You have the first point here that has coordinate of x sub 1, y sub 1, and obviously this is the second point. So those 2 points are connected by a straight line. So now we call it this line segment on the coordinate plane. And you can see this red dot right here. That's actually the midpoint. And by definition of midpoint, um, technically middle point. So this is a point that divides the line segment into two equal parts. So you can see this markings right here. These two markings right there tell you that they are equal in length. Why? Because you have the midpoint here, right? Now, so you can see these coordinates right here of the midpoint. So this is how you're going to identify the location of a midpoint. So we just need to take the x coordinates. So x coordinates of the 2 points, you add them together and divide it by 2. So that will be the x coordinate of the midpoint. Same goes for the y coordinate of the midpoint. If we want to find that, we just need to take the y coordinates of the 2 points, we add them together and divide it by 2. Let's have a look at the example that we had earlier. But this time, we're going to be calculating the midpoint. All right, so we've plotted points P, Q, and R. And we call it segment PQ or segment QP. Now, if you are asked to locate the midpoint without using a ruler, so this is when the midpoint formula comes into picture. Using the midpoint formula is going to give you the most accurate location of the midpoint. Point P is at 1 comma 4 and point Q is at negative 1 comma 1. We're going to be using those coordinates to find the midpoint of segment PQ. So first, to know the x coordinate of the midpoint of segment PQ, we take all the x coordinates of 2 points. So we have the x coordinate 1 plus the x coordinate of point Q, which is negative 1 divided by 2. And then to find the y coordinate of the midpoint, we take the y coordinate of point P plus the y coordinate of point Q divided by 2. And we simplify that. So midpoint of segment PQ will be equal to, so 1 plus negative 1 is 0. 0 over 2, 0 divided by 2 is 0. 4 plus 1 is 5 divided by 2. It's 5 over 2. Oh, so that means that the midpoint of segment PQ is at 0 comma 5 over 2. What does it, or that is 2.5. So this is where the midpoint of segment PQ is located. So now, if you're gonna go back to the drawing and locate that, 0 comma 2.5 is here. All right, so it's somewhere here. That's the midpoint. Okay, let's try another one. So for example, using the same set of points. So say for example, you are asked to find the midpoint of the segment RQ. Use different color. So RQ here, right? So Point R has coordinates of 3 comma 3, and point Q has coordinates of negative 1 1. So the midpoint of a segment RQ, so we get the x coordinates. So we get 3 minus 1 divided by 2, and 3 plus 1 divided by 2. So midpoint of segment RQ is at, so this is 3 minus 1 is 2 divided by 2. 3 plus 1 is 4 divided by 2. Therefore, the midpoint of segment RQ is at 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Therefore, the midpoint of segment RQ is located at 1 comma 2. 1 comma 2 is here. There you go. So that's the midpoint. So for your challenge question, please grab your pen and paper and answer the question. Calculate the distance and the midpoint of the line segment with endpoints at 5 comma 3 and negative 7 comma negative 19. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, share this video, and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Once again, thank you very much for watching and see you on my next video. Bye!